I told you that I was doing something in the background, which it might not be evident to you in the class. So because of that, what happened was the presentation or the code that I was doing in the IDE was not visible. Like the screen, it was showing only my face. And you can hear only the sound. There is nothing presentation which is being happening. Because of which I thought there is no point in uploading the video to YouTube. So if you want, I can share it from my drive. Uh, I can give the link in the classroom. So I will not upload in the YouTube because there is nothing to see in that. You can hear only my voice and see the picture of me in that old photo. Okay, that photo was taken, I think, 7 years back. Anyway, so so I thought I will not upload that video, and instead I will share only the presentation which I have already done in the Google Classroom. And if somebody would like to see that video, like the audio basically, then I am always happy to share it with you. Like I'll share the drive link so that you can um, view it in the drive. Okay, fine. So let me start our presentation. Okay, so we are going to do continue with inheritance, and the inheritance that we are going to look today is like we have finished inheritance, but related to inheritance, uh, there is something else. There are some new types of uh, what do you call classes, which we are going to see today. Okay, so that's basically a virtual class and virtual function, etc. So let me share my slides. Okay, I hope everybody can see my slide. Yeah, so it says need for virtual class. So let me start for the basic class. Okay, so what we are going to look today is called as virtual base class in C++. Okay, the word virtual means something which is not physically present, something which is there virtually. Virtually, as the name suggests, is like it is not there physically, but you can have some kind of an interaction. It's called as a virtual base class. Now, for example, people might say that we are currently living in a virtual world where you don't interact with people virtually. Instead, you don't interact with people physically, like you don't come to people face to face and interact with them. Instead, we will interact with them virtually via Facebook or via WhatsApp or via any kind of online platforms. Okay, so that is called as virtual, something which is not physically present, but still you can feel its presence. It's called as virtual. Okay, so virtual base class are used in virtual inheritance in a way of preventing multiple instances of a given class appearing in an inheritance hierarchy when using multiple inheritance. Okay, this is a very long statement, but you will understand it when I do the program. Okay, so what it says is that when you do multiple inheritance, so multiple inheritance we have seen in our previous lecture, what is multiple inheritance? You are inheriting from multiple classes. Okay, so it can be multi-level or multiple. Okay, in both cases, virtual base class will come into effect. So in during that time, there are some issues that we will face. And to resolve the issue, we are going to use the virtual base class. So why do we need a virtual base class? Let's consider this inheritance. Okay, there's class A, class B, class C, and there is class B. Okay, if you look at class A and class B, class A, class B, and class C, this is a multiple inheritance. Okay, so from class A, class B is inherited, class C is also inherited. And if you see class B and sorry, class D, class B, and class C. So class A, class B, and class C, you can say it is called as a hierarchical inheritance. Class B, class C to class D is a multiple inheritance. Okay, so if you consider class D, it is inheriting from class A, through class B. It is also inheriting from class A through class C. So there are two different paths for class B. One path is class A, class B, and class B. The other path is class A, class C, and class B. So if you define something in class A, it is inherited. For example, let's say you define a function to print something in class A. So that same function gets inherited to class B via class B. It also gets inherited to class D via class C. So basically the same copy of the function or a variable which is defined in class A is gets inherited to class B in two ways. Basically, there's a duplication happening in class B. Okay, and this will confuse a C++ compiler because this will leads to something called as an ambiguity or complexity, or you say perplexity. So there is a confusion for the compiler whether when you refer something in class A through class B, is it via class B or is it via class C? So that is a ambiguity. So that's a need for. So in that case, what we'll do is we will make class B and class C as virtual, or we'll inherit class A as virtual. Okay, we'll see that. So this is the sample code. So what we'll do is let's write this code directly in our IDE so that you can understand how it is, why that is happening. So let me just share my whole screen. Okay, so let me write from the start. So basically what we're going to look at today is called as virtual base class. Okay, so as always, let me hash include IOStream using namespace std. Okay, so I'm going to define the main function as always, and in the main function I will return 0. Okay, let me define class A. Okay, now class A, I have a public function which is, let's say, called as void show. Okay, and I say cout. This is class A. Okay, next I am going to define a class called as B. I'm going to inherit B as like this. I'm going to inherit B from A in a public way. So I can say class B public A. Okay, and let's say I have a function public, and I say void show B, and this means cout. This is class B. Okay. Next, I am going to have class C. So I just copy this to make it more easier. So I have class C, and you can see from here, class C also inherits from class A publicly. So I have class C, which inherits from class A, and I say show class C. This is class C, which I am printing. The last one is I'm going to define class D, which I'm going to inherit from class B and class C. Okay, so let me just copy paste this. This is class B. So I'm inheriting from class A, sorry, class B, and also from class C. And say, I would say this is a function or a member function which says show D. This says this is class B. Fine. So what I have done, I define class A. There's a member function show, which prints this is class A. Then I have defined class B, which inherits from class A publicly. And I have a member function, so it's called as show B. This is class B. And I have class C, which has inherited from class A publicly. And I have member function called as show C, which prints C. This is class C. Finally, I have class D, which inherits from class B and class C publicly. And I have a function called as show D and says this is class B. Okay. Now I'm going to create an object of D. Okay. So creating an object of D. When I create object, you say class name D, comma, objd. Okay. That's all. And then I'll try to access objd dot show. Remember, if since you are inheriting class D from class C and class B, which inherits from class A, you can access from the child class D the function of all the parent classes, which is you can access show C, show B, and show using the object of B. Okay, that we have seen this concept yesterday. So I am going to access show, which is a function of class A. Right, so let me just compile this. Okay, so is okay, so I missed a colon here, which I missed here, which I missed here. Okay, let me compile it again. Okay, now the error came. See, request for a member show is ambiguous. That we have seen in this slide. This leads to ambiguity. It is saying that the show function is actually ambiguous. Means the compiler cannot judge whether you are inheriting the show function from class A to class B to class D or from class A to class C to class B. Okay, so there are two different paths to inherit that same member function, which the compiler cannot determine. Okay, and that's why this error is happening. Okay, so this type of inheritance you might need to use in many places. So in that case, what we will do is you will make the inheritance of A to B as virtual. Okay, so this is the error that I was mentioning. So how to resolve this issue? So class A will be declared as virtual base class by placing a keyword virtual. So along with this public access specifier, we'll also say that the inheritance is virtual for class B and class C. Okay. So this virtual, when you say that the base class is virtual, then the compiler understands that there are two different paths for the same inheritance, so that you need to use any one of the paths. Okay, I'll just put the virtual. So you just say, I can either say virtual public A or public virtual A. So I can here say virtual, both are same. Okay. Now if I do compile, you will see that there is no errors. Error is zero. So what we have done? So what we have done is you have made a virtual inheritance for class B and class C from class A. So class A, you made virtual inheritance. Okay, there is a virtual here also. Fine. So you made class A is declared as virtual for class B and class C. So this is the importance of a virtual base class. Okay. So just give me a second. Okay, sorry for that. I got a just call. Fine. Okay, coming back. So the class A has just one data member, which is public. Okay, I just in this program there is a data member called as A, which is public. So the class is virtually inherited in class B and class C, which is done by this. Now class B and class C becomes virtual base class and no duplication of data member A is done. So now class B and class C will become a virtual base class for class B, so that the data which is being carried out from A, inherited from A to B to C to D will come in any one of the leg. Okay, right? So that is called as virtual base class. So you should understand that the class B and C is called as the virtual base class because it has virtually inherited from class A. Okay. The next concept is called as a virtual function. So you should know the difference between a virtual base class and a virtual function. Okay. A pure virtual function, or it is also called as an abstract function in C++, is a virtual function for which we don't have implementation. We only declare it. A pure virtual function is declared by assigning 0 in declaration. A pure virtual function is implemented by classes which are derived from an abstract class. Okay, let me show you one code. Okay, this is an example. Let's do that example. Okay, so what we are going to do is virtual function. So I'm going to say good to a string using namespace std in the main return 0. Okay, now what I am going to do is I'm going to declare a class or define a class, let's say test. Okay, and in public I'm going to define a function which is with a virtual keyword void show, and I am going to assign this function equal to 0, the semicolon. So this is called as a virtual function. Okay, so in virtual function we will have virtual keyword, virtual, return type, function name. If you have arguments equal to 0. This is the syntax. So this is the syntax for a virtual function. Okay. Now this is actually called as a pure virtual function because you are assigning the value to be 0. Okay, so that is what we have declared here. Sorry. A class, so that is a virtual function. Now, with related to virtual function, we will define something called as an abstract class. A class is abstract if it has at least one pure virtual functions. Sometimes implementation of all function cannot be provided in the base class because we don't know the implementation. Such a class is called as an abstract class. So in abstract class, if it has at least one virtual function, then it is called
Okay.
as a abstract class. An abstract class is one that is not used to create an object. So using an abstract class, you cannot create an object. An abstract class is designed only to act as a base class. They are deliberately used in program for creating derived class and are not meant for creating instance objects. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so this class has one pure virtual function. So this class is called as an abstract class. Okay, what are the properties of an abstract class? One, you cannot create an object for the abstract class. That is the most important point. Okay, And the abstract class should have at least one pure virtual function. Okay. The next point, abstract classes cannot be used to create or cannot be used as derived classes. Okay, it can only be a base class. Fine. So let me just create one variable int x, and then I can say int get x is means you return the value of x. Okay. So why do we need to create a abstract class or a pure virtual function? You see that this function should be implemented in the base class. Okay. The pure virtual function should be implemented in the derived classes. Okay. So before going to derived class, let me try to create an object of the abstract class, test_t. Okay. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create an object of the abstract class. This is what I'm going to do. Let's see what happens. When I try to compile, it says this: cannot declare a variable t to be a of abstract type test because the following virtual functions are pure with test. So the compiler is not allowing me to create an object of the abstract class. Okay. Test is an abstract class because there is one pure virtual function defined inside test. So when you try to create an object of the abstract class, it will say that you cannot create the object of abstract class because there is one pure virtual function in the abstract class. Okay, fine. Now let me just create another class. Let's say it is A, and I'm going to derive public test. Okay, so I have derived, or this class A is a derived class of test. Okay, and let me declare a variable y. Let me declare a public function. Let's say int get y, and I'd say return y. Okay, so what I'm doing is I created a derived class of test, which is publicly derived from the name of the class is class A. I created a private variable called as y. I haven't implemented this function inside this class. Okay, fine. And let's see if I do a com, try to create an object of the derived class. Okay. Okay, this should be small letter. Okay, it says cannot declare variable a to be of abstract type A because the following function are pure with A. It says it because you haven't defined this function inside the class A. So what you can do is you can say void, you define that function with the same name, show. Okay, and inside the function you just print the value of, let's say, any variable. So see out the value of y is y. Okay, so what I did, so here the virtual function is defined, declared, and I have defined the pure virtual function in the derived class. So a pure virtual function is declared like this in the base class. From the base class, I have inherited class A and inherited to class A. Then I define the pure virtual function. That means the same name with the same return type and the same number of arguments A. Okay. Now if I try, it should combine. Otherwise, there is some problem in the code. You see, there are no errors. Okay. So what does it mean? If you are deriving from an abstract class to some other class, the function inside the virtual function which is declared inside the base class should be defined inside the derived class. That is very, very important. Otherwise, the compiler will throw you an error. It will not allow you to create this object. So if I comment out this, if I just comment out this, this will give me an error saying that you haven't defined that function. So it will not allow you to create the object. Unless you create the object, you will not be able to call the function. So here you can call the function getY. Okay. So unless if you create the object, you will not be allowed to call the function. So it is at most important that you should define the pure virtual function inside the derived class. Okay. This might confuse you a bit, but make sure you understand this concept. So I'll explain once more. Abstract class is the class in which you have one virtual function defined. What is a pure virtual function? A pure virtual function is a function in which there's a keyword called as virtual with the return type, with the function name and input arguments assigned a value equal to 0. So a pure virtual function is declared inside a class, and that class is called as an abstract class. You cannot create or you cannot make an abstract class as a derived class. So abstract classes are always base classes, and you should have at least one pure virtual function. You cannot create an object of the abstract class. Okay. When you derive the abstract class to some other class, for example, class A is derived publicly from the abstract class, then you need to definitely declare or define the pure virtual function inside your derived class. Otherwise, it will throw an error. Otherwise, the compiler will not allow you to create this object. Okay. So these are the abstract classes and derived classes and pure virtual functions. Okay. This also has been asked many times in our semester end examination, but the concept is very simple. If you can write it down properly in English, that is more than enough. Okay. So let's go back to our slides. So this is pure virtual function. You try to declare test T without deriving that, so it will give an error. So I have a base class whose name is base. A pure virtual function. Then there's an abstract class. No object of this class will be created, can be created. And you derive a class called as derived from base class publicly, and you define the pure virtual function inside this class. Okay, so this pure virtual function, which is declared in the base class, is defined here, which allows you to create this object derived D. Otherwise, this would have given you an error. Okay, so if you do not override means you are defining this virtual function in the derived class. That is called as overriding. If you do not override the pure virtual function in the derived class, then the derived class also becomes an abstract class. Okay, so then this derived will also become an abstract in this case where you haven't defined or overridden the pure virtual function. Okay, the derived class will also become abstract class. No objects can be created for this class, and this will give you an error. Okay, so basically we are referring to E. Balaguru Swami. It is more easy for you to understand. So just look at constructors in derived classes and nesting of classes. And these are some of the questions that you can try to answer. It's very, it will help you understand this lecture much better. Okay. and there are some true or false questions. Okay. Now, before we end the session, let me just throw light upon something called as nesting of classes. I don't have PPT for that, but let me say. Nesting of classes means you can have a class inside another class, and you can have a class inside that class. So you can have any number of classes inside another class. So let me show you. Let's define, okay, let's first define my main function. And I'd say return 0 and class A. Okay, I have first class. Okay, and let's say I have a public variable called as int A or int y. Inside this, I'm going to define a class called as B. Okay, so the class B is inside the class A. This means we have nested class B inside class A. This is called as nesting of classes. So inside class B, let me you can define normally. Let's say I have a public variable called as int x. I can have a public member function called as get x, and in get x, I'll just return the value of x. This is a simple code. Okay, fine. Now the question is, how will you access the class B? Okay. If you want to access class B, you need to create an object of class B. But class B is inside class A. So how will you access class B, or how will you create an object of class B? For that, you should say A scope resolution operator, which is colon B, and you say object of B. And you can say objb dot get x. Okay. So using the scope resolution operator, you can access the nested class. Okay. I'm sorry, I got lost my connection, but I don't know how long I have lost my connection. But anyway, I'll explain it once again. So I was talking about something called as nesting of classes. So I was talking something called as nesting of classes. You have a class A, and inside you can define that class B. Inside you can define class C. Okay, so basically class B and class A are nested inside class A. Class C is nested inside class B. So if you want to create an object of class B, what you want to do is you say the topmost class A, the scope resolution operator, colon, and then B. Okay, so this will create a you can create an object of class B using something like this. Similarly, if you want to create an object of class C, which is inside class B, then you say A scope resolution operator B scope resolution operator C. Then you say object C. Okay, so that will create the object for class C. So you can have any number of objects in classes inside other classes. Fine. Okay, so that's all for today. And so let me show you how far we have reached in the syllabus so that you will also understand. Okay, so this is our syllabus. So we have almost completed this. I will give some more notes for this part. And we have completed this part. We have completed operator overloading. We have completed inheritance, constructors in derived classes, abstract classes that we have seen today, virtual base class, and nesting of classes. So basically, we have completed till module number 2. So according to your academic calendar, your first series should have been completed by 5th of May, but I think that will get extended. You might have your exams next week, most probably, or this week. Like anyway, today's Friday, so we will not have any exams today. So next week, you will most probably having series exams. We have completed module 1 and 2. So the series exam will cover module 1 and 2 if it is next week. If it is after next week, then we will not, sometimes most possibly will be having module 3 some part also. Okay, so let me know if you have any doubts on this part. You can put in chat, or you can unmute the mic and talk. If you don't have any doubts, then we will call it a day. We will meet again on Wednesday. So remember, I am just giving me a reminder. Sunday is the last day to submit the assignment. Sunday till 11:59 p.m. You have your time, and before that, please